Hey y'all, I just wanted to do a little bit of an addendum here. I didn't feel like I explained the cycle of Jupiter very well, so wanted to kind of go over that in a maybe more coherent way. So Jupiter takes 12 years to go through all the signs in the zodiac, so it spends obviously approximately a year in each sign on average. But since Jupiter and Saturn are often retrograde, and that'll be for several months out of a year, it can be spread out over a year and a half total time, but the time that it's actually in the sign, if you add up all those separate parts, would be about a year, because it'll go back and forth throughout the signs. I hope that makes a little more sense. The journey through the signs is maybe a little bit more fluid because it goes back and forth in and out of like the next sign, then back to the same sign, then the next sign, then the next sign, and all back into so there's like an overlapping type of stair step thing that it can do. It doesn't always do that, but it's not really uncommon. And I hope that makes a little more sense than what I said in the overall video. Thank you. Hey y'all, it's Diana from the Dianaverse. How you doing today? Talking to you from Seattle, where we've had a bunch of snow the last couple of days, and I wanted to talk to you about Jupiter, who's going into Pisces. Jupiter makes everything big. Snow is basically water. We got big snow, and the coldest temperatures apparently we've had here for 30 some years. Just about the same time Jupiter is going into Pisces. So when a planet changes signs, it's not like nothing, 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 and then it's in the thing, and then nothing, nothing, right? There's kind of a build up. There's the time that it's in, whatever sign it's in, and then there's what we call a shadow period, where it's kind of like easing back out of that sign. And depending on the planet and how fast or slow it moves, those can be fairly significant periods of time. Sometimes if you're studying astrology, you'll see in an ephemeris, it will say direct, like if the planet's going direct, that'll be the day that it went direct. Or it might say an S for stationing, that was when it stopped doing whatever it was doing. And from our point of view on Earth, it looked like it was standing still, and then it did whatever else. But before and after those periods of time, there's actually some influence of whatever it's going into or going out of. So Jupiter is going into Pisces. It was in Pisces actually last year from like May to July. I don't have the exact dates. And so you might see a return of some things that were going on during those times. Retrograded, so it went into Aquarius again for a little while. Now it's going back into Pisces, and it won't be going back into Aquarius. So all the things that have been going on since, say, July, where it was in Aquarius, and that influence with Jupiter was kind of making things bigger, and Aquarian themes like high tech, or it's kind of the architect sign, so it could be construction, it could be all kinds of things around those fields. It's going to be kind of moving into Pisces, which is more about the collective. Pisces is the collective unconscious, it's society at large. It's a water sign, which is totally different from Aquarius, was an air sign. So less thinking, more feeling. More about societal things. It's also going to be conjuncting with, it's moving towards this, swimming towards this conjunction with Neptune, which is going to culminate in April 12th. It's the first time that we've had Jupiter in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces for about 165 years. Neptune is a much slower moving planet. Jupiter goes through all the signs in 12 years at a time. So well, it's got a 12-year cycle. That's a better way to say it. So it will change like every year and a half, 2 years, depending on whether there's retrograde periods, that can kind of change. Like right now, where it was in Pisces, then it was in Aquarius, now it's back in Pisces, and then it's going to go into Aries, and then it'll go back into Pisces a little bit. So it's kind of weaving a thread through some different themes. But it's going to be very optimistic as it moves towards Neptune. Neptune is all about the dream, right? The illusion as well. So there is like a flip side to that. It can make bigger the illusionary side of things, where we might think, this is a fantastic idea. Let's jump into cryptocurrency, but you don't look at like what's really behind that and how that works. You want to educate yourself. You don't want to just jump into things, because things can seem like a fantastic idea, but it could be totally based on an illusion. Your political leaders could say things that sound fantastic. They're really working for the people, but then when you get behind the scenes, you could see that maybe that's not true. I mean, that seems to always be the case with politicians, right? But it's a good time to keep your wits about you, but it's also a very inspiring time. You could come up with some really inspired ideas with Jupiter, Neptune, the conjunction with them coming together and working on projects together. You could really see some breakthroughs in big ideas and new social constructs. They may take some time to actually come into reality. They might just be ideas for a while, but they could be some ways that where we can come together on some things, which is a huge advancement in itself, because we've just gone through all this Sagittarius Gemini nodal thing for the last year and a half, where it's like, what the heck is truth, right? Where is reality? Everyone's got their own idea of what things are. So the nodes are also going to be moving with the next eclipse. Will be firmly into Scorpio, Cancer. I'll do that in a different video, because that's a whole thing in itself. But there's just a shift. And as we move, right now we're in Venus retrograde, which is in Capricorn, which is practical, and it's the foundation things are built on. So we're reevaluating our values and what everything is built on. And I've done a couple of videos on Venus, so I'm not going to go deep into that. But Venus will be moving forward as we get into the first quarter of the year, and she will be direct again by the time we get to this April 12th conjunction of Neptune and Jupiter. So everything is going to be super optimistic. There's also going to be, all the planets will be direct. So that's really going to give us a boost in not only coming up with great ideas, but making great plans of how we're going to work on these ideas, even if they're not like fully realized, because they're going to be big changes that we're envisioning. There will be a really big boost from everything being direct, our values, Venus being direct and moving on into Aquarius. So the first quarter of this year, I think, is going to be like the best as far as productivity and inspiration and making big plans. There is a downside also to Neptune in Pisces, in that Pisces can be the sign of overwhelm, because it's like everything, you feel everything, and that can be too much, especially with Jupiter there. It's pushing it to be too much. So people can have a tendency to want to kind of go into escapism, kind of check out, play video games, do things that take them out. If you have people in your life, or you have tendencies toward addictive behaviors, that can be kind of emphasized and made bigger. So that's something to really keep an eye on. I've been playing too much mahjong on frickin' the internet, right? Just a big time waster. Not super destructive, but a big time waster. So it's like, okay, I'm doing the thing, so I'm going to step myself back from that, right? So it can help to be supportive of each other. If you know people or you have those tendencies, create. It's a great time to have a support network. It can also be a great time to have a destructive network, like if you're easily pulled in with people who also have your negative tendencies, you want to try to kind of avoid that. That can be made a little bigger. So you want to swim with the current, right? Pisces, but Pisces, the fish, they swim in two different directions. So that can keep you from getting things done. It can be counterproductive. You want to kind of keep your fish swimming together through the stream of life. So that's what I have to say about Jupiter going into Pisces, and hope you have a great holidays and a great start to you next year. All right, I'll be back soon.